Okay, I believe we can start. Good morning, good afternoon, colleagues. Good morning, dear friends, and good afternoon from wherever you are joining us. Thank you for joining us at this World Resource Forum side event focused on job redesigned, exploring circular economy solutions in the private sector. It's an event of the Circular Economy Catalyst project funded by the IKEA Foundation. Thank you, Ahmed. And implemented by adelphi and SEED. While increasingly recognizing that there cannot be a just transition without small and medium enterprises, and considering the importance and relevance of small and medium enterprises for climate action and circular economy, they remain still the missing middle that requires due attention and enabling capacity. The role of small businesses in the circular economy and low carbon economy is gaining traction, but significant work is required to move from idea, innovation to effective action. There is an increasing recognition that circular economy strategies and policies can address some of the most pressing environmental, economic, and social challenges. Recognition also that delivering on climate mitigation and adaptation should adequately consider and actively involve small businesses, small, medium and enterprises. By producing, distributing, applying, and promoting green products and services, often using eco-innovation approaches, green SMEs create additional social benefits, including low-income and vulnerable groups in their value chain as employees, suppliers, distributors, and consumers, enabling deeper and wider social, environmental, and green impacts. And we will hear today about some of the successes from our entrepreneurs who have been awarded, but also from other partners. After a brief opening by IKEA and ILO, I will make a brief presentation on the purpose of this event and by introducing also the circular economy taxonomy. Then the most important part come in. Sorry, Ahmed and Mustafa, if I say the most important part, but here we are here to listen to them, to those awarded entrepreneurs who will explain to us what they did, how they did it, and what impact it will have. And then we will have a panel discussion involving other partners with us, including ILO again, on how do they see those green jobs redesigned and how this can effectively have a positive impact on circular economy. Without any further ado, let me give the floor to Ahmed Sameh, the program manager of IKEA Foundation. Ahmed, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, thank you everyone. It's a pleasure to see you all. My name is Ahmed Sameh, and I'm program manager at the IKEA Foundation's Entrepreneurship and Employment Portfolio. Again, I'd really like to thank SEED and the adelphi team for allowing us to be here today. We are very proud to be partnering with SEED and adelphi on the Circular Economy Awards program, and allow me to share with you a little bit why we are very excited about this program at the foundation. We really value it because it really touches on the two main pillars of the IKEA Foundation strategy, which is designed around people and planet. We really believe that empowering innovative circular entrepreneurs and waste-focused entrepreneurs can yield three major outcomes. First of all, it creates new jobs. By fostering these waste entrepreneurs, we not only promote environmental sustainability, but we also ignite economic growth. These entrepreneurs, they introduce innovative solutions for waste management, recycling, upcycling that can lead to the creation of new job opportunities. This, of course, strengthens our local economies and does provide livelihoods for countless individuals. Equally important to remember, of course, that many individuals are already engaged within the waste management sector. And we believe that by supporting more waste entrepreneurs, we can help enhance the conditions and safety standards of these existing jobs. So it's about creating new jobs and improving existing conditions for those working in the sector. This should lead to a more dignified and secure livelihoods for those who have been the backbone of our waste management system for years. And I think it's fair to say that they have not been acknowledged and supported and recognized the way they should have been. And we really believe that it's crucial to be part of this role to change the narrative and change that type of support for them. The third outcome we look at is we want to support an inclusive green transition. We're facing, of course, pressing challenges of climate change and resource depletion. Transition to a more sustainable green economy is not it's non-negotiable. Waste entrepreneurs, they play a vital, a pivotal role in this transition by reducing the waste, promoting recycling, and developing eco-friendly products and services. Their efforts contribute significantly to our collective journey towards a more environmentally conscious future. Accordingly, this is how we look at it from the people's side and the planet. But why did our portfolio decide to focus on waste and circular businesses in specific? If you really want to focus on the green transition, of course, there's the energy, there's a lot of other things that you can really look at. But we believe the waste sector, it has the potential to create a lot of jobs, and there's a lot of people already working in it in very bad conditions, which we can do a lot there. We also believe it's a sector that is overlooked due to its very complex nature. If you talk to a lot of, I've been speaking to a lot of investors and VCs, and it's very clear that they deem this sector very high risk due to its informal nature, due to the challenges in bankability of a lot of these micro enterprises working in, and of course, the high capex. We do believe that our philanthropic funding could de-risk a lot of these business models for investors, and by showcasing businesses and incredible, amazing entrepreneurs through programs like the Circular Economy Awards, we are bringing them to the forefront, bringing to the forefront some replicable, investable models that would yield financial returns while supporting people and planet. Yeah. I think in the coming hour, you will delve deeper into these topics, hearing from experts, entrepreneurs, and other stakeholders who are actively involved in the circularity, job creation, and entrepreneurship support domains. Again, I would like to thank adelphi and the Circular Economy Awards team for inviting me to speak here today, and really wishing you an amazingly fruitful discussions. Thank you again.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Ahmed. Frank, thank you for your great support. And thank you for highlighting the necessity to really further support those small and medium enterprises without which we cannot deliver on circularity and sustainability. It's not yet well enough known, understood, acted for, and together we hope we can make a difference on that. Let me now call in an older friend, old, not by age, Mustafa Kamal Gay, who just recently, his title was on green jobs. So this is really the person who will be telling us about how ILO is really contributing to green jobs and how we can redesign the jobs in order to deliver the just transition we are all looking for. Mustafa, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you so much, Arab, and colleagues in adelphi and SEED and the Circular Economy group for this event. So first of all, I must say, Arab, as you said, we are somehow old friends, and in your current capacity as executive director of SEED, I want to appreciate the fact that the first ever green economy program that was designed when both of us served at UN Environment Program in 2011 was this project on the green economy in Africa, where we worked in 7 countries as a joint program of UNEP and SEED with funding contribution from the European Commission. I must say that is the pioneering work on the green economy in Africa and in fact across the world. So I really appreciate this long-lasting collaboration that we've had, and I'm happy to see that this is still making progress. Now, I'm also happy to be in this meeting with the awards, and my colleague Mette will be also joining the panel. But in terms of just this opening part, I wanted to focus on 3 points that I think could be helpful in helping us frame our engagement here. First is to recognize that we really have an imperative of an ecological transition. Just last week, I was with our Deputy Director General in the UN Core Principles Climate Group. So it's a small group of UN principles that meets once in a while, chaired by Deputy Secretary General Amina Mohammed. But I went out of that meeting with, much more anxiety. Whoever knows the Deputy Secretary General Amina Mohammed knows she's very passionate. She's the one, she's the engine of the climate agenda in the UN. But when I heard Amina speak, I realized that there is a lot of frustration in terms of the challenges, the urgency the work is facing, not least with the heat wave we've seen across Europe and many other parts of the world in the last few days and weeks. But it looks like governments and member states of the UN are just burying their heads under the sun and not looking at what's going on around the world. So therefore, we are heading towards the UN climate conference, well behind what needs to happen to keep 1.5 degree alive and the UN ambition on climate and circularity on target. So therefore, I think this reaffirms and makes much more critical the role of business and the private sector, because governments, these are my personal words, not those of a UN official, but as a citizen, I feel that governments are being hijacked by real politics, and countries that we have seen in the past years driving the sustainability agenda are now the one leading on all the new contracts on oil and gas and fossil fuels. So therefore, where are we going? So this means that decarbonization, transforming economy, the way goods and services are produced, and that's the central role of the circular economy is not going to be possible if business of all sizes, large and small companies, don't play a bigger role. Now, last year, the ILO produced a report, Greening Enterprises, which was the first exercise we did to look at what it means to transform labor markets at the enterprise level. Now, through global survey, we find that there is a lot of happening, in the European region, for example, 9 out of 10 companies are taking action on sustainability. But what we find is also that in most cases, it's large companies. So SMEs, micro enterprises are somehow lacking behind, and that's where much more attention is needed. Now, the second point I wanted to bring is that, there are challenges and there are opportunities for enterprises. And I think what should drive action towards innovation and circularity has to recognize both. One is that, as trade unions say, there is not going to be jobs in a debt planet, no jobs on a debt planet. But now it's also becoming a message of no profits on a debt planet. I think enterprises have to realize that. Our work on measuring the impact of heat stress on labor productivity signals that by current patterns of warming of temperatures, by 2030, the world is going to lose on average 2.2% of working time. So which means that new entrepreneurs, businesses interested in productivity are going to lose on that productivity. And if you turn it into economic losses, it's billions of dollars of loss to the world economy. And when we measure it in terms of full employment equivalency, it is 80 million jobs that are going to be lost by 2030 just because of heat stress. So this is the challenge. Now, But there is a positive side of it, and I think the positive story is much more powerful than the alarming one, because we see a circular economy, a low carbon economy, possibly leading to 100 million jobs by 2030. So therefore, there's a massive opportunity for new employment creation, and this is where enterprises have to play an important role. But of course, there are issues for business, because we need to reskill, to upskill the workforce to be producing, working differently, be more efficient in the use of resources and material and innovation. So that skilling, upskilling is going to be a critical agenda. So we estimate that around 80 million workers will have to be reskilled and upskilled. Now, the challenge also for enterprises is who pays for that reskilling and upskilling. And I hear around the world 3 lines of view. Some believe that it is for individuals to go and retrain themselves, like we all pay to go to university to acquire knowledge and find jobs. There are some who say that the circular economy, the low carbon economy agenda is a public policy matter. And so therefore, if you think from a market economy perspective, it is government intervention in the functioning of markets for sustainability objectives. And because of that government intervention, it's for government to pay for this upskilling, reskilling. And there are others who say it's for companies to bear that cost. I know in the UK and somewhere, the debate is going on. So this is also for companies in the circularity agenda and the reskilling, upskilling, what role governments should play in terms of the taking of the cost, what role enterprises should play, and what role society altogether should play. Now, I want to end just on the third point, which is that the agenda on circularity, the way I see it, it's connecting 2 main entry points and objectives. One is that at the company level, we increasingly see a convergence of values, companies seeing value, and I mean economic gains by becoming more circular, more efficient in the way they work. And the second element is the aspiration of workers. Most workers and people entering labor markets, and we see that mostly with young people, want to work in companies that have values for sustainability. So people are not anymore looking at any kinds of jobs. They want to work for companies that meet their own individual aspirations for life. And so this convergence is very positive. And the last one is that it is also about, combining the focus that companies have on labor productivity. All companies want to have to be more productive in terms of their work and their operations, together with resource productivity. So that has now become indispensable in the work of work. We've been so much focused on labor productivity, but we know that now it has to go hand in hand with resource productivity. And this is what is going to be an important driver for the circular economy, and making sure that it happens mostly in small micro enterprises where the challenges lie, but as I said earlier, also massive opportunities. Producing with low material, low energy input means cutting down your input cost and maximizing your profits. So I think that positive spin is what we're looking at, and I'm happy that we'll hear more about the awards that we have in this meeting. So thank you so much again, and please for the opportunity.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Mustafa. Thank you for highlighting these 3 elements, which are in fact essential for redesigning the jobs of tomorrow. How effectively circularity plays an important role, the aspiration of the workers versus the economic gains, and the productivity, not just of labor, but the resources in order to be more resource efficient, less material, and so on. And this should be effectively driving the next redesigning of the jobs for the future generation. Thank you very much. Thank you both, Ahmed and Mustafa, for your enlightening messages. And let us now move to the panel. But before that, I will have my brief introduction. why my screen is not moving. I have to put it, sorry. Okay. Now let me have a brief introduction on circular economy taxonomy before moving to the panel, just to explain some terms and putting the context in perspective here. SEED is collaborating with the Circular Economy Catalyst project in this context, and very proud to be able to join hand with them. SEED, as you might know, and you refer to it yourself, Mustafa, is a global partnership established in 2002, launched as a type 2 partnerships on sustainable development and the green economy through entrepreneurship. At that time, it was very difficult to understand why it was launched and how this could effectively work on. But it has been working and showing year after year how we can effectively work with and for the small and medium enterprises. And for that, there has been a very interesting annual award system that was really providing support to the small and medium enterprises, the most innovative one in terms of eco-inclusiveness, looking at the social, environmental, and economic parameters at the same time. And this is what has been done. And in this context, the partnership with the Circular Economy Catalyst has been extremely useful for all, in a sense that the focusing here on the circular economy has provided the opportunity to look at the transformative potential of the green economy entrepreneurship to really foster the economies that are restorative and regenerative by design. The program offers a tailored package, interactive capacity building, accompanied with a financial and technical support. But most important than the financial is the technical support that we need to highlight here. Would it be for the Circular Economy Catalyst and as well as for the SEED work, and then working with intermediaries and financial to integrate the needs of the circular economy enterprises. This has been done through four packages, I would say, and 4 steps. First of all, the incubation, looking at the early stage entrepreneurship support through the replicator and starter program that had been developed at some time by SEED and keep on doing it. And here learning from what has been by others, building on that and bringing together aspiring entrepreneurs and established entrepreneurs to adapt and test the models together. Then we have those awards that we are providing here that will really recognize and showcase the successful circular economy models and raise awareness of potential impact, showing them as I would say the best in school in order to inspire the others to follow. I used to say, recognize the few best in order to inspire the rest and to move the rest. And then we'll go to the acceleration program where we look at the growth stage entrepreneurship support, aiming at preparing the growth, moving to the next step through workshop, scale up and scaling up together with the grant that we'll be providing. And most important, of great importance for us, is to look at the ecosystem management in order to make sure that we have the right ecosystem for the enterprises to grow. So training the trainers and looking at the right policies and financial needs that are around to support the countries. The activities so far that has been completed in this project in 2022 and 23, 11 early stage incubation workshop, 4 training of trainers in Nairobi, Delhi and Hubli, 1 green finance academy in Nairobi, with 14 financial instrument blueprint developed that the enterprises and the banks can develop, and disbursement of the incubation grants. Small amount, substantial enough for the enterprises in their context, but very much supported by the tailored support that is provided to them. And circular economy was schemed through which 100,000 euro will be awarded to promising entrepreneurs. I'm not going through the details here because we want to listen to the awardees here, but it's important, what we need to highlight here, out of the entrepreneur that had been trained, 70% are women entrepreneurs. And this is something that is extremely important. And we're proud of when we see what's happening in India and in Kenya in this particular case. Now, the work of the circular economy catalyst follows this, what we call the circular economy taxonomy. More than the text, look at this circle diagram, and you can read it from inside to outside, or from outside to inside, looking at either the business value chain, bringing you down to the added value, added circular business value, where you see how you will be retaining value, optimizing the inputs, increasing durability and maximizing utility, or looking at it from the other side in order to see how you can effectively consider the manufacturing process, the procurement, while considering all those R's that we used to nominate. We always talk about the 3 R's. Here you have a long list of R's, from reduce, reuse, rethink, repair, refurbish, remanufacture, repurpose, recover, recycle, all extremely important at different steps of the circular economy. And this is the whole process that we apply in the circular economy catalyst, for working closely with the small and medium enterprises in different countries and different stages. When we refer to the awards, we have been developing 2 categories of awards, SEED and Circular Economy Catalyst. SEED has been mostly looking at the Climate Adaptation Award with the support of Flanders, while with the Circular Economy Catalyst, we have been looking at the Circular Economy Award that have been funded by IKEA Foundation. And in both of them, we're looking at the achievement of circular economy enterprises that deliver environmental, social, and economic impact. And we were very pleased to recognize them and announce those awards at the last high-level political forum in New York. Of course, they could not be with us, but there will be, some of them will be joining us in other events, because we need to promote them and make sure that they can themselves take up their messages up there. So for the Circular Economy Awards, the climate change one are from a different perspective. We have divided them in 2 categories, what you call the winners and the runners up. The winners receive a little bit larger grant and a 1-year tailored technical support. And the runners up receive a smaller grant and a 6 months tailored grant. I'm not listing them here. You have the list in front of you. The ones in bold are simply highlighted because they are the ones who will be joining us next in the panel, and who will share with us their experience and their lessons so far. With this, let me move to the panel, and I will be kindly asking Sahar Mansoor, James Kamau, Catherine Muraya, and Arvind Bardwaj to present in 5 minutes with PowerPoint or verbally, but please just in 5 minutes, who you are, what you do in terms of the problem that your products and services try to solve, how you do it, your operation model and revenue model in order to share experience for others to learn from you, and what impact have you made so far. With this, I will start with the order that we have here. Sahar, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm so grateful for this amazing opportunity. I'm going to quickly tell you a little bit about Bare Necessities and the work we're trying to do to be part of the circular economy. So we're here to make sustainable living the norm and not the exception through high quality, everyday products that you and I use. So we all know the problem. We're currently living in the largest global garbage crisis of our lifetime. And Bare Necessities solution is to address our everyday necessities that we use to shower, to brush our teeth, and on an everyday personal care basis. So 4 simple steps. We've recently launched our waterless formats of products. All you need to do is take our amazing sachet of high quality ingredients, which is just the active 10%, and then add water from your own home. The idea to do this was really to be very efficient in terms of reducing your carbon footprint. We're not paying to ship water across the country. We're giving you just the active 10% that you actually need. We're reducing logistic costs, we're reducing carbon footprint. And the best part is that the complete product packaging is completely compostable. So just a few elements around the design that we're very, very excited by. The sachets are completely compostable. We use vegetable dye ink as well to print on it, so it's non-polluting to the soil. We use old wine bottles as the dispensers that you can purchase from us once and thereafter just reuse it for life. Or you can simply use the dispenser that you might already have at home. We also have natural cork and metal as the pump in the dispenser. So what we're trying to do to really be part of this sustainable circular economy and also create dignified green jobs. This is something that's very personal and very close to my heart. We're really excited that we are powered by a completely woman-run production team. The idea is that a lot of the women on the team might not have any formal education, maybe have never set up a bank account prior to working at Bare Necessities. So we work on financial inclusion, health insurance access, upskilling, team events, language skills, computer skills, among many others. We're very, very excited to start also working with waste warriors or informal waste pickers to join our production team as well, because we do think that there is a need to elevate the quality of life. So that's how we've done. So short video so you all get to see. That's just a quick video to show you insights about what our team looks like. Thank you so much for having us. And we're so excited to be part of the circular economy movement and this amazing program that will equip us to only do better and also connect with amazing like-minded entrepreneurs to continue to grow and expand.
Sahar, thank you. Thank you very much. I liked very much the notion of dignified jobs. This is something that we should care more about that. It's extremely interesting and important notion that we definitely need to have with us there. Let me move now to James.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm happy to be in this forum. Now, research have shown that 60% of clothes produced every year end up in dump sites within the same year. And with the factor of the material used to make the clothes, that is cotton, silk, and wool, with the decomposition rate, this makes the textile industry the second most pollutant in the world. Kenya imports over 200 tons of textiles known as mitumba every year. This kills the local textile industry and pollutes the environment through burning of the clothes in the dump sites. Another problem is the land degradative use. I personally grew up in the highlands of Kenya, where 12% of the population depend on steep slopes because population is on increase, food demand is on increase, but the land does not. So the people go to clear the vegetation on steep slopes and use the land degradatively. This issue brings about landslides, which affects over 400 households every year, with the deaths and displacement. So we saw this huge opportunity in solving the land degradative use and at the same time solving the issue of sustainable textile production in the industry. And this is what we do. We involve the farmers in the strip soap to establish nettle plantations, which nettle is a native crop here in Kenya. So after 3 months, we harvest the stock, the nettle stalks, and then we apply a biological retching process to obtain fiber from the stalks. And then we use the fiber to make products like mats, we make bags, we make shoes, and so on and so forth. So with time, from the time we started in 2015, we have involved 600 farmers We have trained people to help us in the processing of the fiber. That is about 120 women and youth who are just staying wives and local youth who have no job. And the choice of using the biological testing process is that it cannot be automated. So there must be a person who have hand-on skills to use them. Then have obtained over 60 tons of the fiber, quarter of which we have used in making the products, and we have sold them over to 15 countries and locally. Yes, and I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Congratulations for solding it already in 15 countries. This is great. And it means that your fiber are of good quality based on native plants involving local farmers and women. This is great. So I hope you will keep on. Congratulations. Let us move now to the next speaker, Catherine Muraya.
All right. Greetings to you all. Indeed, it's a pleasure to be part of this forum, representing VAWOCO from Kenya. And I'm the programs director and a co-founder of VAWOCO. We deal with collection and refurbishment of discarded phone, where we are saying that we create a new meaning for discarded phones. At VAWOCO, we deal with e-waste management, and specifically for the mobile phones, the discarded mobile phones, where we use an innovative business model that integrates the collection, sorting, and repairing of the discarded mobile phones, and with the aim of enabling them to be used for a longer period by the consumer. So once we correct and sort and repair the discarded phones, we sell them at an affordable price to communities. And through this selling, we usually see that we manage to extend the product life of the phones, and we also reduce the impact, the environmental impact of e-waste. Our business also manages to offer training, internship, and the training, internship, and also certification program. I'm trying to look at the slides. Okay. And through the training and the internship program, and also the certification that we offer, we are able to empower the youth in creating jobs, because they use the certificates and the training that we give them to create their own enterprises. We also ensure that we involve the women and the youth. Mainly, we use them, those from informal settlements, because we train them and empower them in their advocacy. The advocacy usually involve collecting, sorting, and also the repairing. Though we usually train the women, those who are favorable for the repairment training. So at VAWOCO, we also partner with, we have several partners, including the churches, private business. We also partner with institutions. For the churches, they help us with the stakeholders who help us in correcting and sorting mainly. And the churches also act as a correction point for our discarded phone. The private business, we engage them when we are training, because we also train the private business in our business model so that they can adopt them. in their businesses. But mainly we deal with those that engage in repair and refurbishment of the discarded phone. The institutions, we mainly engage with learning institutions, and we partner with them in terms of training and offering the certification. We have found our business to contribute to circular economy in that it increased the durability of the smartphone because the smartphones are usually used for a longer period of time. And this reduces the use of additional material that are required to produce a new smartphone. You also find that we are able to reintegrate the discarded phone into the economy by selling them. So this prolongs the life cycle of this phone, a very good factor of circular economy. Other contributions include reducing the e-waste, since we are collecting these discarded phones from communities. So we are able to reduce the impact of e-waste. The other contribution is that we are able to conserve resources. We are also able to minimize the environmental impact associated with the production of new devices. To ensure sustainability of our business model, we derive revenue from trainings because we usually charge some affordable fee. We also offer the certification. Certification and training, they go hand in hand. We also derive revenue from selling the repaired and the refurbished phones. And we also derive revenue from the operations of our day-to-day operations, because in our enterprises, we also sell other products that go hand in hand with circular or circularity. And we find that our business has been doing well, and especially since we received the training from Circular Economy Catalyst, adelphi, and SEED, it really helped to improve the business model that we were using earlier on to the current one. And that is why we are very glad, or we sincerely thank Circular Economy Catalyst, adelphi, and SEED, and also IKEA Foundation for their great support, without which we would have not come this far. Thank you very much.
Catherine, thank you very much. Thanks to you for reducing the waste of these disregarded mobile phones. And we know how much they are in Kenya, which has been using it in the countryside for a long time by the farmers on innovative programs to access banking system. It was a very innovative system in the world. And so there should have been a lot of telephones and mobile phones around that has been disregarded and renewed. So congratulations to you for extending the durability of these telephones. Hopefully they will have also a system to collect the one that they will throw at the end, but we will come to the questions later on. Let me move now to the fourth enterprise, to introduce what they have done, how they did it, what the impact. Arvind Bhardwaj from India.
Yeah. Thank you, Evan. Thank you for the opportunity. So let me present the. Yeah. So myself, Arvind Bhardwaj, and we are MiniMines, and we are sustainably recycling waste lithium-ion batteries using our proprietary process at 1/10 carbon footprint than the originally mined materials. And we are generating battery-grade raw materials so that you can again reuse them to make new lithium-ion cells and batteries. So currently we are building this facility of 3,000 tons per annum capacity, and we are collaborating with different small scale partners like scrap dealers. We have been in touch with approximately more than 250 small scale scrap dealer, and we are creating a network of those guys. And because they are the ones who are receiving those batteries, and they need to sort these batteries out. so that some of the batteries are in working conditions, some of the batteries are not in working conditions. So we are training them to check whether the battery can be used again to make new second life batteries and stationary applications. And the batteries which are not working properly, they send them to us, and then we recycle them and extract elemental compound, and then we sell them in the market to make new lithium-ion cells. So this is the normal, this is, as you all know, that all of us, we are moving towards EV revolution, and we are going to generate and require a huge amount of energy storage devices and lithium-ion batteries, not just in mobile phones or handheld devices, also in the electric vehicles as well. And these elemental compounds which are used in lithium-ion batteries are cobalt, nickel, manganese, and graphite, which are very crucial in nature and not available everywhere. So the problem we are solving is lack of natural resources, and most of the countries are depend on imports for these raw materials. That's why nobody is able to set up a manufacturing plant in their own country, apart from China and USA. And there's an exponential market requirement for these battery materials and lithium-ion batteries as well. And at the end of their life cycle, once this we will all the governments are trying to replace their IC engine with electric vehicles. So once they are able to do that, so they at the end of the life cycle, we are going to generate huge amount of lithium-ion battery waste. So this is just not a responsibility, but an opportunity as well. But by recycling those waste batteries, we can actually recirculate those material into the value chain and reduce the environmental impact and reduce the natural mining as well. So the process we are using is our own patented process called hybrid hydrometallurgy, and this process is environment friendly because we are not generating any kind of solid, liquid, or gaseous discharge during or after the process, and it's very cost effective and unified method. That means we can recycle any kind of lithium-ion batteries with this process. So with our process, we are saving approximately 1.5 ton of direct CO2 emissions with every 1 ton of battery processing, and that is the environmental impact, and 2 lakh liters of water we are saving with every ton of battery waste processing using our proprietary process. Thank you. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you. You are really touching on a very, very serious problem today, the batteries. It's a very critical issue, and we refer to all these minerals, materials that are essential, that are currently matter of geopolitical fights in Africa. And by saving some of them, hopefully you will contribute a little bit to the solution by having your own material more and more there recycled and depending less on the import. Let us move now. Thank you for the four of you. We now understand why you have been selected, awarded. Congratulations, and I hope that you will benefit and make sure that your innovation can go to the next step with the support of the circular economy catalyst, and we will hear more from you in the next 6 months and 1 year. Let's move now to the panel, including the four of you, together with 3 partners whom I thank them really for joining us. Sripraya Sidaran, Circular Economy Business from the from the Strategic Alliance and Partnership Manager, Kato Sambath. Basil Muga Angaga, CFO, Chief Sustainability Officer, Country Government of Mombasa, and Mette Grangar Lund, Technical Specialist, Green Jobs from ILO. Let me first give the floor to the 3 new panelists to introduce themselves, to tell us just in 2-3 minutes maximum, because we will have time then in the discussion. How do you consider circular economy in your program of work, and what enabling support is provided to them? And let me just take the order that we have, and I will start with Sripraya, then Basil, and after that, Mette.
Hello, hi, thank you so much for inviting me. And it's so lovely and more encouraging to see the different entrepreneurs and the solutions that they're coming up with to solve the the overarching challenge of climate action. I think somewhere what I could pick up from all the presentations that I saw is that all of us are working towards resource efficiency, be it human resource or be it even the material resource. And so I'll just quickly come to what Karo Sambhav does. We work on creating grassroots collection systems for multiple waste streams, electronic waste, battery waste, glass, as well as plastic packaging and tires. So today we have convenience in the forward supply chain. At a click of a button, you can get anything at your doorstep. But the same does not happen when it comes to the waste, the multiple material waste that gets generated at your home, right? We are still stuck in dry waste, wet waste, and in some countries there are more categories for that. But to provide that convenience, we first create those infrastructures for grassroots collection systems. And once these waste products are collected, we take care of the dismantling and then connect it to the authorized recycling partners. We do the basic processing and then send it for the specific specialized material recycling, with the hope that very soon these recyclates that are extracted from the waste, take for example e-waste, somewhere finds its pathway back into the value chain, and it actually replaces virgin raw materials. This is the hope we have, trying to close the material loop. But today, based on the market realities, we are still getting there. There are a lot more support that is needed across the value chain so that someday, very soon, we are able to replace virgin raw materials with the materials that are extracted from the waste streams. So that is what Karo Sambhav does. And I would pass it on to the next panelist. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Basil Munga.
Thank you very much for having me, and I'm really honored to be part of this forum today. My name is Basil Angaga, as has been said, and I work for the county government of Mombasa as a Chief Sustainability Officer. My role is just to ensure that the city develops in a manner that is sustainable and that is within the ecological boundaries, and that we ensure that whatever resources that we have are used efficiently for the greater good of our community members. Waste management in Kenya is a devolved function to the counties. We have two layers of government, the national government and of course the county governments that I work for, and environmental issues, climate change, and waste management at large have been devolved to the counties. And our role as government is to ensure that our cities are clean, and while at it, also ensure that we are able to generate some economic benefit for our people when we're trying to do this. And the only way that we do this kind of work is through legislation. So we are policymakers. We design policies to enable the growth of circular enterprises, and also just ensure that we enforce some of these policies that we make to ensure that everybody aligns and that we achieve the goals that we have. This is currently a serious conversation in my country. We just implementing a new law, the National Sustainable Waste Management Act of Kenya, and it has created new ways through which we have to look at waste and the resources that we have. And we are domesticating these laws at the county governments, just to also ensure that we promote waste reduction at that low level, and to promote and activate segregation of waste and retrieval of resources at source. So that is largely what we are doing currently, and I hope that as we go along with this conversation, we go in depth about our work. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Basil. Let me move now to Mette from ILO.
Thank you, Arav, and thank you very much for inviting me to join this panel. I must say that I'm very impressed by both the winners and the runners-up that you have been presenting here. It shows an excellent diversity of entrepreneurship and how small and medium-sized enterprises can play an important role in coupling exactly both the environmental objectives but also the social ones, with creating jobs for themselves and for other people. So that's been really inspiring. Thank you, Arab. So as you said, I work on green jobs and just transition at the ILO. And one of the topics that I follow is circularity. And there are several reasons why the ILO works on circularity, but I'll focus on two up front. One is that circularity can be a way of improving productivity in businesses. And having sustainable and productive businesses is crucial to creating decent work and job opportunities around the world. So by supporting growth and development of these enterprises, we can also create jobs that both create an impact for the planet, but also for people. But also at the same time, the reason why the ILO is working on circularity is because what we see is that many of the jobs that exist in the circular economy are not, in fact, decent, or as we talked about earlier and heard from the entrepreneurs, dignified. So many of the jobs in the circular economy are either informal or actually dangerous. So you can think of, today we've been talking a lot about waste, either as how to reduce waste altogether from your business or how to use waste as a resource in your business. So there, for example, we see a lot of people who are working under very unhealthy, unsafe conditions, getting sick from their job while at the same time not having safe and stable employment. So that's the kind of stuff that we are also very concerned with. So you can see that there's both the business dimension of it, the ambition to create more sustainable and productive businesses out there, but also creating more decent work for people that work in this green transition. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I know that you have much more to say. I know how you can be dynamic and so on. So thank you very much, but we will have the opportunity to hear more from you. Let me go to the panel by the order you have received and raising some questions. Just if you really can reply in 2-3 minutes, and wherever possible, if you wish to have a comment on what your colleagues have said, or if you want to raise a question to them, feel free to do it. But please don't add too much to your time and your colleagues, so we still have something like less than 30 minutes for the panel, so we can go ahead, and I will make my conclusion much shorter, even though I would have a lot to say from here. Let me start with Sahar. You presented to us your innovation. How does your enterprise contribute to a circular transformation in the personnel and home care industry, and how can other businesses learn from you and follow your example? What stories you can share with them so that they can follow you, to drive, how can you inspire them?
Yeah, thank you so much. It's a great question. So how do we try and reimagine circularity? The idea is to create everyday products and everyday necessities without that plastic footprint. So we're trying to recreate or reimagine everyday FMCG products that you and I use from the minute we make up to the minute we go to sleep. And the idea is to see how we can have the packaging made with more integrity, and how we could use more integrity in design, even the ingredients and sourcing of it. So we obviously stay far away from single-use plastic, and we try and embody more refillable kind of formats. And the waterless format is a way to kind of champion that. Where the rest of the packaging, once you even receive it, is fully compostable. So that's one way in which we are really trying to reimagine the everyday personal care industry. And in terms of the personnel, we do a lot of fun things internally. Kind of every Wednesday mornings is sacred in terms of our team. And we make sure we are spending that time to upskill ourselves and learn more about circularity and circular solutions in the ecosystem. So we're well plugged in, but we're also seeing how we can best partner with other amazing solutions out there.
let me add, what has been the driver for your work? What make you, I need to change. What was the problem that you have been facing that triggered your innovation?
Yeah, definitely. So personally, actually, I was working with waste warriors and waste pickers around Bangalore city. I noticed the conditions in which they were segregating all of our waste, the lack of infrastructure systems around it. And I also saw this emerging new middle class and this growing kind of population in India that was really looking to consume. And I also saw lots of amazing new emerging brands that were creating good solutions, but they were still all packaged in plastic, loaded with chemicals, kind of using the same linear model. And, that was kind of a trigger point for me, mostly kind of watching up close in person, kind of the social justice issues associated with our waste problem. And it was something different to study it from a very, la-di-da academic perspective, but it was a whole nother ballgame to kind of educate my mind, soul, everything, while actually kind of witnessing this on a day-to-day basis. And that's really what triggered and led Necessities to be born.
Thank you very much and all the best. Let's go to James. How does your circular economy business model support local communities? And what would you tell young entrepreneurs is important when starting a circular business? What advice would you give them when they will be really starting with the innovative idea?
Okay, thank you. Now, as I stated before, Nettle is a native plant here, and it is also regenerative of harvest. So with us, to the farmers, we give them a one-time investment and an all-year-round eco cash crop, which they can provide, a sustainable income for them. Then we train youths, so we give them hands-on skills that they can use in other entrepreneurship and sustainable for them. Then on the security idea, we chose a biological rating system, which I said can never be automated. So we have youths who will work on that part during the pre-processing of the fiber, and that is why we give them a sustainable job, which they will do. Now, with the communities at risk of landslide, the investors in the communities are always fear to do this investment because these parameters can happen anytime. But now with the rehabilitation of land by Nettle conserves the land biodiversity, and then the investors can come in, they can do other projects that they expected to do. And then we have the idea of other projects that came out from the process of processing fiber. We saw some youths the leaves that weave, but then I'll redirect the nutrition and cosmetics. So it is another idea which can be explored further by other people. It can become a business. So on what I can tell the young entrepreneur one, they have to think about the impact of the community.
We lost him. Okay, I believe we lost James. I think we managed to get the message, but let us move again. And if he comes back, I can give an opportunity for another minute. Let's move on. James, you're back. James, we lost you for a while, but we got most of your message. You want to add anything special?
Yeah, I'm back. Yes, I'm just saying with thinking about the impact to the community, they must balance it with the potential of the income of the idea at full mechanization when it is at the break-even point. Because the problem with youth is that they invest what they have, the little they have to pick up the idea so that it can present it to the world. So we have to ask the towards the risk when the idea be full mechanical to be the must as they focus on what they're going to solve, there are some other ideas and problems in a way we have about.
Okay, look, thank you very much. I think we got your message. Really target the local communities and try to see in the different conditions, different context, how to ensure for them a better life, how to have a more resilient local community, depending on the existing technologies, or if it can be ever improved with the mechanization in making sure that they're not high risk for them. So thank you very much. Let me move now to Catherine Muraya. What support do you wish you would have had when starting your business? If you did not have it, if you had everything, it would be great. But in particular, what can governments, and we referred a lot in the presentation by ILO also about the role of government not completely really doing what they should do. So what can government and other ecosystem actors do to support circular economy, SMEs, and in particular, what would you have loved to have as a support?
All right, thank you very much for this chance. As we began our enterprise, before we received the training, we would have wanted to have an innovative business model, because we found that for every enterprise to grow in circular economy or in other business, a business model is very key. So we did not have a good business model, but once we received the training, we were able to improve our business model. So the business model ensured sustainability of our business, which is very key. So you find that for the small and medium enterprise, sustainability of this business is usually very important. And this is one of the greatest challenge with the SME businesses. So, but with the business model under the circular economy, it is very sustainable. You also find that it is able to deal with the economic, social, and environmental impact. So in total, it's one model that we can recommend for other business to engage in their businesses. So for the government, we can the government can support circular economy by driving the demand for circular products. So I have two recommendations I would make to government. One is they drive the demand for circular product, and this will create sustainable growth and in green jobs. For example, they can incorporate circularity in government procurement decision. So that is just one example. So the other support maybe I can recommend is create an effective system. You find that I would ask for like early focus, because most of the circular solutions are termed as waste management activity. So this can be refocused to see circular solution as an investment, see circular solutions as a way of creating jobs. where we can bring in maybe what this forum is terming as dignity. So if we don't just see circular solutions as a waste management activity, this can be refocused to in form of an investment, in form of creating job. And this will be embraced not only by the youth, and also it can also be embraced by those who are struggling to come up with entrepreneurship and self-employment. So the two recommendations are the ones I find, because other than the policies have been there, they have been read, but my suggestions are action-based, which if they are implemented, they can be a game changer. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. The game changer, and where the government has to come with the green procurement policies. And if you recall, in the circular economy taxonomy, it was very clearly indicated there. And so the government has effectively a role. And good that you highlighted the fact that circular economy is not just about waste, which is unfortunately in most cases what it is. When people talk about circular economy, they say, oh, the 3 R's. And of course, it's not only that. It has to be expanded, it has to be well understood. And hopefully what you are getting from the circular economy catalyst and others will help you you and others to have what I call a more system understanding of what circular economy is. Let me move now to Arvin Badwan. Did you face challenges when setting up your business? We always say, what type of challenges, what actions could be taken by the SME ecosystem to support your business scale in terms of job creation, your challenges, how you face them up, and how these could really contribute to job creation?
Yeah, so thank you for the opportunity. So setting up the MiniMines was indeed a journey filled with both opportunities and challenges. And some of the key challenges we encountered were like, first of all, like when you start a business or the recycling business especially, it actually requires huge amount of capex, and for that you need capital. So first of all, like many startups, securing the necessary funding to start our operation was a significant challenge. But we actually had support from our couple of companies, private equity holders, and with the government support as well, in terms of couple of grants, startup ecosystem grants. We were able to start our initial operations. Second challenge is, I would say, was the market entry and to get customer, first of all, because once you start producing something which is recycled, people are reluctant towards reusing or using the recycled materials, because that might not give them the similar results. So that's why they were more reluctant towards using them. So making them agree on using that material again to make new materials, new products, was very, very hard. The recycling of lithium-ion battery especially was fairly new thing, and in that area you need skilled labor or skilled people or talent individual. So that was also missing in terms of talent acquisition. We had to go and train a lot of guys, and for the collection part as well, we had to train more than 200 individuals to collect and sort the batteries out. And the most important thing is again the regulatory compliances. So to start a recycling business, you have to go through multiple government bodies. Starting from your most important thing was the pollution control board's initial your documentation and their regulatory compliances. So that was the most important thing. In terms of business scale or job creation, so SME ecosystem could consider like multiple actions, like market access support, talent development. Government can support or introduce new programs for circular economies in institutes where they can train people and they can create new labors or skilled labors, you can say, or streamline the regulations for the recycling, which are not still, we are like in India, we are still using age-old regulations for recycling the materials, and incentives for sustainable practice or sustainable recycling methods. and export support also we would be needing, because some of the materials are critical and like we cannot export them outside India, even though we don't have enough demand in India itself. So that also government can support us, or SME ecosystem can support us. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You have a long list for the government. I hope they will listen to you. But these are normal, but you can't expect them to reply to you and to provide you all this. And that's why we are having the type of work that Circular Economy Catalyst and SEED are doing, is really to showcase how the good work you are doing, how this can have an impact, and most important, how this can help the government is at the end delivering on their objectives. And that's what most of the government have not yet understood, that they need the work of the small and medium enterprises, the cumulative achievement of these enterprises, if they want to be serious and go to the UN and say, oh, I delivered on SDG 13 and 12 and so on, and these are the facts. I haven't heard any government saying it, and I attend many of the UN meetings. Anyhow, let us now continue. We heard the 4 enterprises, their presentation and their question. Now, Sripraya, I will ask you a question, but also if you want to have any comment on what our entrepreneurs have said. So please take the opportunity also to reflect on what they have said. Circular economy business models require collaboration across the value chain. How can SME support ecosystem create an enabling environment for circularity? How, from your perspective and from what you have heard from the different enterprises, how can we really create this needed enabling environment for circularity, as just Arvind has referred to in the different elements?
Thank you. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Thank you so much, Arab. And yeah, you asked me to reflect, but as I was listening to everyone, I was equally reflecting on the points mentioned, and I couldn't agree more with Arvind and Catherine, both of them. I think one point, in order to even look at the holistic view of circularity and circular economy, the whole ecosystem and the whole value chain comes into picture. Today, circular economy, circular business models have become buzzwords in the global dialogues. But if I just reflect upon a lot of businesses working in India, there are so many SMEs who are by nature circular, and a lot of the regulations apply to them. And there are still those SMEs to uncover and come to the surface that they are a part of the value chain. So that is one part. But I would like to just focus upon a few important points that an SME ecosystem can support. Catherine mentioned, I think even Arvind covered that. If an SME is introducing their new circular business model into the market, something that comes with it, it's a new model. It might need some new kind of skills. So one is whatever the solution may be in the whole by a particular entrepreneur, it might need new kind of technologies. It might need new kind of skills that are needed by the entrepreneurs themselves. So and their teams. So skill development becomes an important part. And if I just zoom out a little, skill development not only is essential on the entrepreneur and their team's level, but also at the regulatory level. Now, Arvind mentioned about the pollution control boards. So I would just like to share what happens in India, and it might be similar in other regions also. So the pollution control boards here, we have one central and then several state pollution control boards. And they are just, they are so understaffed, if I can say, because as for example, if there is a team of 20 people at the pollution control board, they are responsible for 30 different waste waste streams that are polluting the environment, right? And that is where, and just imagine the amount of work, the amount of documentations, and all the kind of dynamic regulations that are coming up in the country, how much they have to keep up to date, and also be aware of what new technologies are these entrepreneurs bringing. So skill development on a whole country level becomes absolutely important. Second is, on the entrepreneurial level, today, the fact is, on a lot of complex material fractions, recycling technologies and material loop closures are not there. Unfortunately, a lot of recycling that is happening today, we can term it as downcycling. And in order to be able to say that, yes, we have achieved that SDG and actually supported in circularity, we need to welcome innovations, and that's where collaboration comes into picture. A lot of countries have developed certain innovations, but they are not economically adoptable or replicable yet. So that is where having a platform where even the innovations are spoken of, and where there is a method of collaboration between countries. Arvind mentioned about being able to export some of the materials, right, to other countries where there is a need, there is a demand. So even having the regulators make note of that and create some kind of a trade agreement between those countries becomes important. There are different edges codes that come into it. And then comes the part of supply chain integration. So today, I'm just taking an example of India when we talk about extended producer responsibility regulations. Now, that is where the producer who's creating the waste, they're responsible to clean up the waste that the products create, right? So if I talk about that today, a lot of the conversations and negotiations are happening, boils down to a race to zero, where if there are 10 players, whoever is offering the lowest gets the deal for the EPR services. But are the producers thinking, what is the true cost of going circular? Whatever prices have been offered, is it really, if someone is offering at say X price, is there a way to justify or even validate, can this work be done at such a low price? Is it even possible? So having some methodologies at the regulatory level where there is a benchmark that if you have to achieve circularity at particular material, maybe these are the systems that you can refer to and validate if really recycling is happening, or is it just a paper trading that's happening in the whole value chain. And then the point of investments comes into picture. Yes, we don't want to talk and say waste management, but if we have to begin the work of circularity, waste becomes an important raw material, right? And that's where, like Arvind said, it's high on capital investments. We can't just create digital technologies and wish that the problem gets solved. And someone earlier mentioned about this, that the investments and the funding needed for circular business models seems quite counterintuitive to a lot of investors who especially invest in a lot of these unicorns that are coming in, right? And that is where we need more impact investors who are also able to convince more of their peer groups as to why we need more investments here. And that is where it is, in my view, a lot of entrepreneurs need support to even convincingly put forth how their business model is of actual value and can also have the potential to generate profits. And we need to slowly shift the dialogues from having to need funds and to be able to generate funds and sustain the business for the long term. So these are a few important points in addition to policy that I would like to bring in. Hope this was helpful.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of important points. Thank you very much. And I hope that the work that the Circular Economy Catalyst is doing can effectively help at least these few enterprises to look into the ecosystem, look at the compliances, to have the required skill development, to at the end get well integrated in the supply chain, and look at the policy framework. You said a word that I currently hate a lot, which is race to zero, which is becoming the new buzzword that is diverting people from really proper action. But this is my own position. I don't involve anyone on that. Let me now move to Basil Munga. How does and as I said, you can also refer to the comments and input from your colleagues, please. You have been listening to what they have said. How does the county government of Mombasa support the circular transformation? And you have heard here people asking for government role, so you are also government representative. And what can governments do to better support circular SMEs in the contribution to the circular transformation? What are you doing? How can you improve it? How can you give a positive recommendation or hope to the enterprises that are listening to you?
Thank you. And yeah, there's a lot that always comes the government way in this kind of forums. But the fact that I am participating here today and that I have been involved in the process of even designing the challenge that got to these awards and even the awards themselves means that the governments are also rethinking how to engage with enterprises and our communities. And we believe that there's a lot of potential or a lot of solutions lying within our communities. And all we need to do as government is to create an enabling environment and maybe trigger the members of our communities to contribute contribute to solutions to some of the challenges that we are facing. The most important thing for government is actually appreciating that there's a problem and that we have done. And while I know many people have a problem with us looking at circular economy as a waste management problem, but then that is what the linear economy gave us. You take from the planet, make and dispose. And that is how many companies or even organizations have been operating. And what we are ending up with is a lot of damage to the planet and a lot of waste that also affects the quality of our lives in our communities. So I will still go back to the importance of policy to enable or to catalyze the growth of these enterprises. There was a good suggestion, and this is something that, like from the city of Mombasa, is something that we are already implementing because, like particularly in the Department of Environment, we have made it a law, though it's still not in paper because we are just getting to develop a proper like green businesses incentives policy. But we're already promoting circular procurement because what we have advised our suppliers is that these products that you're gonna get to the department has to meet a certain criteria because we can't be preaching water and of course drinking wine. So I believe many governments have realized this, and we are setting corporate goals within government that these are what we want to achieve to ensure that we also in our internal processes are more circular as a government, to also just lead by example and encourage the organizations to also take their place in the table. But beyond that, we are also getting heavy on supporting innovations as a county government. And this is also something that I know other county governments across the country is doing, and other cities across the continent is also doing, creating innovation challenges to just ensure that we can come up with a lot of solutions to some of these problems. But what is going to be the backbone of our circular economy growth as a country is still the laws that we are talking about. Just recently, the National Environmental Management Agency gave like the producers 2 months to comply with the EPR regulations. And we believe this would go a long way to also help us address the amount of waste that is generated. We want companies to just rethink their manufacturing processes. We want them to also just reduce at that level at the design stage the amount of waste that they're releasing downwards. And for us, it's not a focus on the 3 R's. We're actually looking at the 11 R's, and everybody has a role to play across the value chain. We have the community, and they have to play their role. We have the manufacturers, they have to play their roles, and government also have to play their role. But most importantly is also to get to change the mindsets of our people towards circular products, because that is also a big challenge. People don't really value like some of these maybe recycled products or certain circular elements like sharing of stuff and stuff like that. So we are also really investing in trying to get our people to reimagine resources, reimagine our city and how we want to grow, and just getting them also on board to be able to support the transition that we want to drive at.
Thank you very much, Basil. A lot of ideas, and good to see that Mombasa is really engaging a lot with the small and medium enterprises, providing support. Paula, I believe we can have 10 minutes more. Yes, thank you very much. Great, because I cannot close without listening to Mette, and she has been listening to all these presentations. She's from ILO. She's expert on green jobs. And I believe all the colleagues around want to hear from her on what advice would you give to the entrepreneurs after listening to their innovation, challenges, and achievement in order to further and better contribute to circular economy? Mette.
Thanks a lot, Arab. And thank you everyone for sticking around. I realize that there are so many great speakers here, so I'm glad that we have another 10 minutes to wrap up. So I'll be quick. I mean, I think that a lot of great advice has already been shared. And I would like to pick up on one that we already talked about, which is to go beyond this thinking circularity that is just about the reduce, reuse, and recycle. And also think beyond waste, as Catherine already said. And obviously the whole rethinking and redesigning is critical. And here we already see that these entrepreneurs have thought about circularity from the beginning of their business development, which is really key. It's difficult to come afterwards and add and improve if you don't have this circular mindset and thought in your design of your production and your processes from the beginning. But I also wanted to take a moment to think about how it's not only about the planetary regeneration, but also the human regeneration. So here we can maybe introduce a new one. I must admit, I didn't see if it's already in your model, Arab, but I was just thinking what could we, to keep this wording, we could maybe start thinking about relations in our circular businesses. So how is it that we relate and interact with our employees, our value chain, and the people in our value chain? I already initially talked about these decent work deficits that we see in the circular economy space. And a lot of you have here, you entrepreneurs have already thought about this. How do you want to create? What types of jobs do you want to create? What type of leader do you want to be? What kind of employer do you want to be? And it's very impressive to see the kind of responsibility that you take on yourself. So a few things to think about there. One is, of course, what kind of contracts are you offering to your employees? And how can you improve the working conditions? We already talked about occupational health and safety. A lot of challenges in the whole waste value chain there. How are you ensuring that your suppliers, if you don't have a direct employee relationship, how do you ensure that they have decent working conditions as well? But another thing is actually that we had an excellent question in the Q&A from Linda talking about just transition and how that links to circularity. And one dimension that we haven't spoken that much about is actually the gender dimension. So ILO data shows that a circular economy transition can create 78 million new jobs, but 71 million jobs will be lost. And that's because the majority of the jobs that are created in a circular economy are actually going to be transformed or changed jobs that are already existing. But what we also see in those numbers are that the majority of jobs created will be held by men in the future. So we have to really think about not recycling the gender stereotypes in the linear economy into the circular economy. And that's also something we also already heard from a few of the entrepreneurs today, really thinking about how do they make a space for women in their value chains, but also how do they continue to reskill and upskill the people in their value chain. So it might be that they have a job today in their business, but they might also have the possibility for moving on and advancing their careers and their job opportunities later on. So those are a few things that I wanted to finish off saying here with relating to your value chain, not only the materials in your value chain, but also the people that work in it. And then just to finish off, I wanted to highlight a few things that we are doing here in the ILO, because Arab, you started off saying that we could also maybe talk a bit about what kind of support are we giving. Here we focus specifically, in this session, we have been focusing on entrepreneurs and SMEs. So I just want to take a moment to talk about this Score for Climate module we have, where we look on resource efficiency. And it is a sort of coupling a happy marriage between circular economy thinking and then sort of more lean production Kaizen kind of concepts. And one thing that I really like about this module is that it is based on workplace cooperation. So that's something, even if you're not going to do the score module in your business, all the entrepreneurs here, all the people that are possibly an employer or a manager here on the call today, they can think about how are they going to create workplace cooperation, both about productivity, occupational health and safety, but also about, for example, environmental impacts. Another thing I wanted to say, because there were many here talking about waste, is that we do have an excellent online guide for improving occupational health and safety for waste pickers. It is made in a quite inclusive way, very little writing, so that it's easily understandable for most people. And you can go online and check it out and see if it's something you can use in your value chain to, for example, improve the working conditions with the people that you work with. I think that was my very, very quick summary here in the end, Arav. Thank you.
Mette, thank you very much. Thank you. Very useful, very interesting, enlightening. I was still looking at the list of the people with us. I wanted to give a last word to Mustafa, but he's no longer online. Thank you, colleagues. I don't want to abuse of your patience and your time. Thank you for sharing your experience and lesson with us. I will try in a couple of minutes just to take some words of what you have said. And I hope I will be just picking the right ones, even though everything is important. We absolutely need the small enterprises if we are serious about delivering circular economy, even though there is still a lot of frustration, both on the circularity and the climate change side, because this missing middle is still missing for good. The private sector and in part large and small enterprises have a critical role to play. Even though we mostly see the large ones and the small ones are lagging behind, not by their fault, because simply they have less opportunities to be visible, to express themselves and to show how best they are doing. They have demonstrated, and we have heard, that they can effectively, through their innovation, redesign products, create new jobs, upscaling the replies for urgent needs. But we're still fighting between the responsibilities of government and business, who should do this, who should do that, while all have, it's as we say in the UN, shared, common, but differentiated responsibility. And I think it applies perfectly to this one. We need to really connect the economic side of the recycling with the aspiration of the people, with the dignity of the people, with the quality of life of the people. So productivity of resources as well as productivity of labor is something that's extremely important. And when we go on innovation, be consistent and coherent with yourself when it comes to environmental and social issues, reducing the plastics or no plastic as much as possible, looking at improving quality of life, creating dignified jobs, involving local communities, because at the end of the day, the local small and medium enterprises are deeply rooted in their ecosystems. They need for their sustainability to make sure that the local communities are resilient, are associated, and they have also their jobs that can ensure that the enterprises also can go on. Keep giving the right attention to women and youth, and as it said, while progressing, also upscaling their skills and moving on. Waste recycling is not the only issue of circular economy. It's an important element because it puts back material in the system, but it has to be better understood from a system perspective, and making sure that all this critical material that are put back in the system are properly used, that we have the right people trained on how they can move on. The local communities, local authorities, and the government has huge responsibility in providing the right policy framework, the right incentives, the right procurement system that will effectively give due attention to the innovation, to the green products that would require proper awareness raising, so that people do understand that a recycled product is also a good product, but it has also other advantages when it comes to social and environmental matters, and that should be given priority. Of course, the government have an important role to play there in supporting them, in using them, in providing the right incentives. And as it has been said, we need to reimagine our everyday life activities, what can be improved, what can be done best from a social and environmental perspective, in upscaling ourselves vis-a-vis the environmental and social matters. The role of government, we need circular economy. It doesn't come on its own like that. You need absolutely to think about how to create new skills, how to keep on upscaling those skills, and how to care about the people who are working, how they can effectively remain with you and not to just look for other people. Improving their day-to-day expertise and experience in the work is absolutely fundamental for that. The changing mindset for circular economy, for waste management, for recycled product is essential, and it is not yet done enough. We have still many people who are very worried and not very welcoming recycled product, even though they are of good quality. So considering these elements from a planetary perspective is great, but we have also to look at it from a human perspective and making sure that both of them are connected, relating employers and employees, improving quality of life, looking at decent job, and at the end, do not neglect the gender dimension. While progressing and improving, some can lose, others will come in. Care about the all throughout the life cycle, throughout the value chain. Thank you very much. Thank you for all your great work, and we will be following your activities, your achievement, and all the best to all of you. Paula, anything that you have to say here?
No, just thank you very much to everyone. Also, thank you to all participants who remained here. And yeah, I will share also the recording of this session with all participants and in our online channels for all those who could not join.
Thank you. Best wishes and have a great day. Bye.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.